Is Jesus God in your view?
Well, if Christianity is true, then yes.
So have you read Exodus 21 where God gives instructions to Moses about slaves?
Is that New Testament?
No. Why does it
Okay,
matter
well
which
then why are
testament?
we talking about? We're talking about Jesus and his moral character.
No,
He
sir.
never
No,
said
sir. No,
anything about.
sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You don't get a New Testament without an old one. You don't get a Jesus without
Right.
the 10 Commandments. Are you throwing out the 10 Commandments? Are you throwing out Genesis? Are you throwing out Exodus?
No, no, no.
Okay, then
No, no,
stop
no, no,
asking
no.
me whether it's in the New Testament. Have you read Exodus 21?
Yes, I have, but
And
you're
doesn't Exodus
confusing
21
civil laws with
isn't
priestly
Kendall
laws.
in
And
Exodus 21 doesn't God sanction slavery?
what do you mean by sanction? Are you
Does
regulated?
God suggest that it is okay for human beings to own other human beings as property, pass them on to their children, and beat them as long as they don't die within a couple days? Is that what's in Exodus 21?
I want to be clear. I want to understand what you mean by sanction. Are we talking about, because there's a difference between allowing.
Why are you dancing around it? So in Exodus 21, does God allow slavery?
He allows a certain form of slavery that isn't like what we understand to be.
Actually, Kendall, in Exodus 21, God allows two different types of slavery because there's different rules for Jewish slaves than there are for non-Jewish slaves. Jewish slaves have a completely different set of rules at the beginning of Exodus 21 than non-Jewish slaves. Jewish slaves can only be held for 7 years unless you trick them into becoming slaves forever. Non-Jewish slaves are your property to be passed on to your children. And does Exodus 21 say you can beat slaves as long as they don't die within a day or two? Yes, it does. Do you think that's moral?
We have to define what we mean by slavery.
Do you think that beating people is moral?
It is not moral. I agree.
Congratulations. You're better than your God. You're better than your Bible. And I wish you'd have been honest enough. I wish you'd have been honest enough to actually acknowledge that from the beginning. Because it's embarrassing to have people like you call in to do, oh, well, Christianity and God's good. And then when I bring up something, you're like, is that the New Testament? It doesn't make any fucking difference if it's a New Testament, if you believe that God is responsible for the Old Testament as well. And in the Old Testament, he sanctions beating people as long as they don't die within a day or so, which you would say is immoral, which I would say is